For a moment, it looked like the story would end in silence. But look closer. This isn't a story of what could have been. It's a story of everything he made happen when the world said he couldn't. Rejected, underestimated, discarded by the giants. But De Bruyne never waited for permission. This is more than a football career. This is the blueprint of greatness, the architect, the visionary, the redemption of Kevin De Bruyne.
I got 100 on my dash, got 200 in my trunk. Name in the grab bags, put my Bible in the trunk. Taco vodka on the top of my binocular trunk. How can I make them popular? Pop 'em when I want. See, I'm living with anxiety, ducking the sobriety. Fucking up the system, I ain't fucking with society. Justice ain't free, that's what justice ain't me. So I justify his name on the obituary.
Kevin De Bruyne's footballing journey began not in a stadium, but in the modest streets of Drongen, a small Belgian village, a country known for its golden generation but never for producing a player quite like him. His father, Herwig De Bruyne, a local football coach, instilled a passion for the game in him at an early age. Football wasn't just a sport, it was a family tradition. Before the world knew his name, before the trophies and accolades, there was just a boy with a dream. Football was more than a passion for Kevin. It was an escape, a language spoken without words. Even as a child, Kevin's vision was clear. He saw passes no one else saw, moves others couldn't predict. This wasn't just talent. This was foresight, a mind wired to read the game differently. His father said he was always a shy character, a unique boy too. He said that Kevin was left-handed but right-footed. But neither of his feet became a weak point, scoring goals with both feet. From the age of 6, De Bruyne's relentless drive became apparent. Though he was young, Kevin showed immense promise. It wasn't until later in his youth that Kevin learned discipline, resilience, and the mental toughness that would define his career. But even here, the journey was far from easy. While his friends grew taller and faster, he remained relatively small. At just 10 years old, he played in a local tournament, and despite his exceptional vision on the ball, a scout dismissed him due to his size. His mother recalls how Kevin's face fell when he overheard the scout say, "He's too small to make it." It was a pivotal moment that could have broken many kids. But instead, Kevin dug in and decided to prove everyone wrong. His response to the rejection was simple. He would work harder, push himself further than anyone else. Then came Genk's youth coaches who saw something special in him, an intelligence that couldn't be taught. And so when Kevin was 14, he joined Genk's Youth Academy, an academy that has most notably produced the likes of Yannick Carrasco, Christian Benteke, Divock Origi, Leandro Trossard and Thibaut Courtois. Now, Genk was 150 kilometers away from his hometown of Drongen, meaning in order for the Belgian midfielder to pursue his dreams, he would have to take a sacrifice and leave home at a young age. This move became challenging for him, as he would often struggle with homesickness. Since Kevin was too young to live independently, he had to live with foster parents. Here, he was able to get his education while being able to play in the academy. Kevin said in an interview, "That year went by, and I was doing well in school, doing well in football. No fights, no problems. At the end of the year, I packed my bags and said goodbye to my foster family. They said, 'We'll see you after the break. Have a good summer.' But then as soon as I got back to my parents' house, I walked in the door and could see that my mother was crying. I thought maybe somebody had died or something." Kevin said, "What's the problem?" And his mother said the words that probably shaped his whole life. She said, "They don't want you to come back. The foster family don't want you there anymore." Kevin said, "What? Why?" And she said, Because of who you are, they said you're too quiet. They can't interact with you. They said you were difficult. Kevin was really shocked by this and said it was actually a huge issue for his career. Because Kevin was not a big star, and suddenly the club thought he was a problem. Kevin spent hours kicking the ball against the fence, and at some point he actually said out loud, "Everything is going to be okay in 2 months. I'm going to be in the first team. No matter what, I am not coming back home a failure." He would return with a point to prove. 2 months later, he got the call for the first team, and he would play like a man. By the time he made his professional debut at 17, Kevin was already a leader on the pitch. In his breakout season, Genk lifted the Belgian Pro League title, with De Bruyne contributing 5 goals and 16 assists, numbers that hinted at the greatness to come. But the path ahead wouldn't be easy. In 2012, Chelsea came calling. A Premier League giant offering the ultimate stage. The club signed De Bruyne for just £7 million. But this wasn't a move for the present. It was a move for the bench. Chelsea at the time was a powerhouse, boasting stars like Eden Hazard, Juan Mata, and Oscar. De Bruyne was just another piece in a glittering squad, a squad who only months prior had achieved the club's first glory in the Champions League. Winning in dramatic fashion against Bayern Munich, the club was number 1 in the world. It was agreed that in the first year, De Bruyne would be sent out on loan to then hopefully develop into a squad player for Chelsea's already stacked midfield. And so a few weeks later, he was sent out on loan to German club Werder Bremen. In Bremen, De Bruyne was given more freedom, and his performances were electric. By the end of the season, he was one of the Bundesliga's most exciting talents. Kevin had proved himself again, finishing the season as their player of the year, but his loan stint came to an end, and Kevin would have to return back to Cobham. But what looked like a seamless return would soon turn into a nightmare, and De Bruyne returned to Stamford Bridge, finding himself being managed by the football villain.
And I'm more than happy to be back, and very calm and very relaxed, but at the same time there is something I want very clear. I didn't choose for my career a comfortable position. I'm coming exactly with the opposite perspective.
Is this a better job than the Manchester United job?
It's my job, and it's a job I want.
Under the bright lights of Stamford Bridge, his minutes were scarce, making only 9 appearances with a single goal to his name. This became a test of patience and self-belief as behind closed doors, frustration mounted.
You are 3 weeks speaking about Mata, and now you are speaking about Kevin De Bruyne, so you are not interested in the players that playing. He's not selected because I didn't like the match he played, and I didn't like the way he was trained. But you have this tendency, you only ask about the guys that are not selected. See you tomorrow. Thank you.
Mourinho's dismissal of De Bruyne's efforts left an indelible mark. He wasn't ready, some said, but Kevin knew otherwise. In one of Kevin's first interviews at Chelsea, De Bruyne mentioned how he felt like a stranger in a team full of stars. He would sit on the bench during league matches, watching as his teammates thrived while he was overlooked. One match in particular left a deep scarring mark inside Kevin. De Bruyne had a rare start but had a terrible game and was subbed off in the 78th minute. Mourinho barely gave him a chance. 2 games, 1 mistake, out. It wasn't just his time at Chelsea that tested him. Off the pitch, betrayal struck from the closest of places. A painful chapter unfolded when his then-girlfriend had an affair with his Belgian teammate, Thibaut Courtois. For Kevin, it was another blow. Chelsea and Mourinho labelled him not ready, not good enough. But the truth? Chelsea never really looked. They never saw what he could be. And when an £18 million offer from Wolfsburg came in, they let him go without hesitation. Chelsea's loss. Football's gain. In Germany, Kevin found something Chelsea never offered: trust. Chelsea cast him aside. Wolfsburg gave him the keys. This move was the turning point. the moment that transformed him from a promising talent into one of Europe's finest playmakers. Wolfsburg handed him the midfield, and he repaid them tenfold. Under Dieter Hecking, he wasn't just a player. He was their engine. Leaving Chelsea could have shattered his confidence. Instead, it made him. At Wolfsburg, De Bruyne became a player who could do it all. Create, score, dictate the tempo. But his impact went beyond the numbers. It was the rhythm he controlled, the pulse he provided. Every touch had purpose. Every pass had an intention. His chemistry with his teammates was undeniable, and suddenly, Wolfsburg weren't just challengers, they were contenders. And Kevin, he believed. The 2014-15 season was historic. He marked 16 goals and 27 assists across all competitions. De Bruyne wasn't just making an impression, he was dominating. But his defining moment came in heartbreak. On January 10th, 2015, Kevin lost a close friend. Junior Malanda Adje, a fellow Belgian and Wolfsburg teammate. The tragedy could have broken him, but instead, he played through the pain. 4 months later, Wolfsburg faced Bayern Munich, a team stacked with Lewandowski, Müller, Ribéry, Robben, and fresh off a Bundesliga title. The odds were against them, but De Bruyne delivered. He scored. He led. This was more than just a trophy. It was a testament to Kevin's resilience, brilliance, and ability to deliver on the biggest stage. De Bruyne was no longer just a rising star. He was a force. Even Jurgen Klopp, then at Borussia Dortmund, saw it. He later admitted he was inches away from signing De Bruyne, but the opportunity slipped away.
Breaking news is emanating from Manchester City. In the last few moments, they have finally wrapped up the deal to bring Kevin De Bruyne back to the Premier League.
The fee could rise close to £58 million.
Chelsea paid £6.7 million for him, and now we're talking about 50-odd million pounds.
Absolutely.
Well,
bonkers.
I don't see 50-odd million pounds for this player. And this is someone who was at the top club in England and didn't click.
City, 4 wins out of 4 so far, 100% record, no goals conceded. If that wasn't scary enough for their rivals, they've only gone and signed Kevin De Bruyne for close to £58 million as well.
The Etihad would become his new home, and the stage was set for greatness. In his debut season, Kevin De Bruyne wasn't just productive, he was electrifying. 16 goals and 13 assists. But beyond the numbers, it was the way he played. The effortless diagonal switches, the laser-guided crosses, the ice-cold composure in the biggest moments. And in the biggest games, he orchestrated greatness. Paris Saint-Germain, the Champions League quarter-finals. A chaotic first leg in Paris. Back at the Etihad, with history on the line, there was only one man for the moment.
De Bruyne, De Bruyne! De Bruyne scores!
Manchester City's first ever Champions League semi-final. De Bruyne was in the history books once again. But despite the moments of brilliance, one thing remained out of reach: the Premier League title. Expectations were sky high. City needed more than talent. They needed a visionary, someone who could redefine their football, someone who could take Kevin De Bruyne and this squad to the pinnacle of the game.
There are 3 years of working that, for me, 3 wonderful years, unforgettable years. All I can say to all the fans is thanks for all. I will never forget you, and I see you.
Khaldoon Al-Mubarak and Sheikh Mansour had their man, a relentless tactician, a footballing obsessive, the architect of a dynasty, the Catalan mastermind, Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola's arrival in 2016 would set the stage for the next chapter of Kevin's development. The eternal rival of Jose Mourinho immediately saw what Chelsea hadn't. He didn't just refine De Bruyne's game, he redefined it. Kevin wasn't just a playmaker anymore. He became the heartbeat of Guardiola's City. Guardiola molded him into the ultimate midfielder, demanding more risk, more leadership, more vision. He pushed him not just tactically but mentally, transforming him into a player who could dictate the flow of any game. And from the very start, De Bruyne delivered.
Kevin De Bruyne's throw on goal. Kevin De Bruyne scores! And from what I can see, Manchester looks very, very blue indeed.
One of his greatest performances of this new era came against Stoke. De Bruyne orchestrated a masterclass, setting up two unorthodox goals in City's 7-2 demolition.
Some of the goals were outstanding. Kevin De Bruyne is head and shoulders above any player in the Premier League, in my view.
But his defining moment of that season came at Stamford Bridge.
Well, there's something in the air tonight at Stamford Bridge. This isn't just another Premier League fixture. This is personal. And tonight, under the lights, on a pitch he once called home, he's not here for nostalgia. He's here for revenge. And tonight, he might just remind Stamford Bridge what they gave up.
Against the club that had discarded him, he ran the show. It was personal. By the end of that campaign, City had achieved footballing perfection. 100 points, centurions, a feat never seen before in English football. A year later, they went even further, completing an unprecedented domestic treble. And in 2020, De Bruyne's brilliance was officially recognized when he won the Playmaker award. This matched Thierry Henry's record for most assists in a single Premier League season, with 20 assists, while also scoring 13 goals. This was a testament to his evolution into the complete modern midfielder. He was named PFA Player of the Year, a reflection of his unrivaled influence. Yet, De Bruyne's greatness wasn't always measured in numbers. It was in the impossible outside of the boot passes that defied physics. It was in the inch-perfect free kicks that left goalkeepers rooted. It was in the tempo he controlled, bending the game to his will. But most of all, it was his ability to perform under pressure that has earned him a reputation as one of the game's most clutch players.
Never mind Kevin De Bruyne, it's Heaven De Bruyne.
His Champions League campaigns have provided some of his most iconic moments. Some of the most notable were in 2020 and 2023. With the weight of expectation on his shoulders, Kevin struck a crucial goal against Real Madrid, finding the net against his former Chelsea teammate, Thibaut Courtois. The significance of this moment went beyond just the goal. It was a poetic act of resilience. Returning to that same stage years later, scoring past Courtois felt like a full-circle moment. It wasn't about revenge, but about proving his strength. But this goal was just one chapter in Kevin's catalogue of big-game brilliance. From his match-winning strike against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League semi-finals to his breathtaking performances against Arsenal and Liverpool. In decisive title races, Kevin's influence in high-pressure scenarios has been undeniable. His ability to turn up when it matters most has become his trademark. Time and again, De Bruyne delivered on the biggest stage, but his injuries threatened to derail it all. For all his brilliance, De Bruyne's career was plagued by setbacks. And unfortunately for him, injuries have been an unfortunate part of his career, and his body often betrayed him at the worst moments. In 2021, the Champions League final should have been his defining moment. Instead, it became one of his lowest points. In the biggest game of his career, a brutal clash with Antonio Rudiger left him with a fractured nose and orbital bone. Forced off in tears, he could only watch as City's dreams crumbled. Even on the international stage, he wasn't spared. At the Euros, he played through a torn ankle ligament just to give Belgium a chance. And after a brilliant 2017-18 season, Kevin was hit with a serious knee injury. This injury marked a critical period in his career. The emotional and physical toll was immense. De Bruyne was on crutches after the injury, unable to train with his teammates. He was frustrated. He had worked so hard to reach the top, and now he had to fight through a painful recovery. But Kevin's story was never about surrender. His relentless recovery saw him return stronger. And in 2023, fate brought him back to the grandest stage. This time in the Champions League final against Inter Milan.
It's a return to this stage for some players. City, the team with the recent experience. The Etihad Stadium's seen it all before. Chapters have been written here, but tonight could be special. A team from Manchester could be heading for immortality. It's 2 down and 1 to go for history.
But in the 29th minute, history repeated itself. Kevin once again went down injured.
There's a problem down there for Kevin De Bruyne, and this is a big concern for Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. Heartbreaking for Kevin De Bruyne. I think he's trying to keep his emotions in check as he leaves the field here. As Jolien said, the second time he's had to leave early in a Champions League final.
Another Champions League final. Another injury. Yet, unlike before, the ending was different.
Here's a Kanji for City. That's a lovely little ball in. Bernardo Silva. Tight angle, pulls it back. Coming onto it now to shoot.
Manchester City triumphed. For years he had fought. And finally, after all the heartbreak, Kevin De Bruyne was a Champions League winner. And as Pep Guardiola embraced De Bruyne, the words echoed.
Huge breaking news. A statement just released by Kevin De Bruyne, and it does look like he's going to be leaving Manchester City.
He pens it, "Dear Manchester." I'll get straight to it and let you all know that these will be my final months as a Manchester City player. This city, this club, these people gave me everything. I had no choice but to give everything back, and guess what? We won everything. Whether we like it or not, it's time to say goodbye. Suri, Rome, Mason, Michelle and I are beyond grateful for what this place has meant to our family. Manchester will forever be on our kids' passports, and more importantly, in each of our hearts. This will always be our home. Every story comes to an end, but this has definitely been the best chapter. Let's enjoy these last moments together. Much love, KDB.